Are you looking for that next big upgrade to your system? Perhaps you're wanting something that will make your PC stand out, but will also ensure you get the most out of your hardware without ever having to worry about overheating. Well, perhaps it's time to try out something you never even knew you needed until now. Hey there, Sarah here from Thermaltake Australia, and this is the Thermaltake Floe RC, the world's first CPU and memory all-in-one cooler. Coming in 240mm and 360mm options, the Floe RC is a superior quality all-in-one cooler. It includes a radiator, 2 water blocks and an ARGB controller, as well as either 2 or 3 120mm radiator fans. The cabling of the tubing is braided, giving the Floe RC a premium, sleek look. On top of this, both water blocks and fans come with 16.8 million colour RGB illumination. These LEDs provide strikingly bright illumination, allowing you to customise your lighting display in a way that's truly unique for you. This can also be synced with your motherboard software for incredibly simple customisation. The Floe RC provides exceptional cooling performance optimised for cooling both your CPU and your RAM. The Floe RC works by running through the CPU block, radiator, and then memory block. This allows the Floe RC to achieve maximum cooling efficiency and thermal dissipation. The high efficiency radiator's fin density is designed specifically to accommodate high air volume. This improves cooling significantly when using our high pressure fans, allowing the Floe RC to speed up heat dissipation. And speaking of fans, the Floe RC's 120mm PWM radiator fans are specifically engineered to generate high pressure without sacrificing silent operation. The high-performance copper baseplate water block provides high-quality and reliable water circulation. The Floe RC is specifically designed to work alongside our awesome new TOUGHRAM RC DDR4 memory. Coming in a 3200MHz, 3600MHz, 4000MHz and 4400MHz options, the TOUGHRAM RC is constructed with high-quality components. This is the only RAM currently able to be used with the Floe RC due to the specifically crafted mounting mechanism on the Floe RC's RAM water block. Additionally, you do have to purchase the TOUGHRAM RC separately, which does mean though that it can be used with or without the Floe RC. The TOUGHRAM RC features tightly screened ICs, providing optimal frequency and response time performance. Additionally, the brushed aluminium heat spreader delivers incomparable heat dissipation. If you have plans to overclock this RAM, we would recommend using the latest Intel and AMD motherboards for optimal results, such as the X570 and the Z490. Now, I know what you may be thinking. With that extra water block and long looping tubing, this looks like it could be tricky to install. Well, rest assured that that isn't the case. Installing the Floe RC is similar to installing a standard AIO and shouldn't take you any longer than about 10 minutes or so. But to make it even easier, we've created a super easy how-to installation video also, so you don't have to install it all alone. On top of this, as it is an AIO, the Floe RC provides basically maintenance-free operation, and you don't even have to worry about changing your coolant. Additionally, the Floe RC only requires minimal space inside your chassis, only reaching a max height of 72mm once the RAM water block is mounted. This means you won't have to worry about any clearance issues, enabling the Floe RC to fit snug even in smaller cases. So if you want to upgrade your setup in a major way, then the Floe RC might just be the perfect solution for you. Not only will it keep your precious CPU cool, but also your RAM, ensuring 2 of your PC's most vital components will always stay nice and cool. Coming with one of our most spectacular displays of RGB lighting, all the while providing you with an innovative, unique, all-in-one cooling solution, the Floe RC is the perfect way to upgrade. Stunning looks and optimal functionality, all wrapped up in a convenient, stylish AIO package. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, remember to leave us a like and pop any thoughts or questions you may have in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ding the bell to be notified each and every time we upload. And while you're still hanging around, check out either of these 2 Thermaltake videos beside me. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Welcome to the install guide for the Floe RC CPU and RAM all-in-one cooler. I'm Jono and our builder today is Nick. We're using an AM4 motherboard today, but if you're using Intel, it's much the same and we'll be sure to let you know where it differs. But regardless of your chipset, you will be using the following items: the specific chipset block bracket, mounting hardware, non-conductive thermal pads, reversible backplate, RAM thermal pad, the included 2mm hex key plus 4 to 8 screws depending on how many RAM sticks you're using, the fan splitter, and finally, thermal paste. As Nick shows here, the backplate included with the Floe RC is reversible, with one side for AMD and the other side for Intel. Nick begins by applying the non-conductive pad to the side that says AMD on it. If you're running with Intel, simply flip it over to the other side and stick it on that side instead. Ensure you place the pad carefully in the center of the backplate. The thermal pad is to ensure there is no metal-on-metal contact with the motherboard and the backplate, so this is a pretty important step. Now it's time to grab the 4 long backplate screws. Mount these screws in the specific mounting pattern and location, which is determined by the chipset you're using. You can find this out by checking with the Floe RC manual. The screws have a flat side and a round side to their head, which ensures they stay in place, and it means you can't really install them wrong. Also, ensure to place a washer on the inside of the backplate, as this helps to lock the screw tightly and balances out the offset of the backplate. Now go ahead and install the other screws. Now place the backplate on the back side of the motherboard and be sure to have your standoffs at the ready. If you're not sure what they are, this is what they look like. Thread these onto the other side of the screws, ensuring they're on nice and snug. To know they're on properly, there should be no play once these slide onto the screws. You can now grab the Floe RC itself. It's time to get ready for mounting. To prep the CPU water block, first you need to get the chipset specific block bracket. Nick uses this one as it's for AMD, so remember to check you are using the right bracket for your chipset. Slide the bracket onto the CPU water block. This may take some effort and can be a bit finicky, so don't stress if it takes a bit of finagling. Now it's time for everyone's favourite part of the PC build, thermal paste. Apply it to the water block in your style of choice, and remember, a little goes a long way. Before placing the block onto the CPU, ensure you remove the protective sticker on the copper base plate. Align the water block and the attached bracket with the mounted screws we installed earlier to the base plate, and press down firmly. Once your block is on, grab the silver locking screws and screw them in with your fingers first, inserting them in a cross pattern to secure the block. Then grab a screwdriver and tighten all the screws again to finish the job. Now it's time for your memory. Just remember, the TOUGHRAM RC is the only memory currently compatible with the Floe RC due to the specifically designed mounting brackets. Install the TOUGHRAM RC memory into the designated slots on your motherboard. If you're not sure how to do that, we've got a motherboard how-to guide that you can see here. Nick installs 4 sticks of RAM here, but you can install the Floe RC with less if you desire. After you've popped your RAM into their slots, it's time to grab the RAM water block thermal pad. Peel the clear protector off one side and stick it in the middle of the RAM heat sinks. Then peel the other side off. To finally install the RAM water block, you will need the 2mm hex key and the screws. Maneuver the RAM water block atop your RAM and line it up with the mounting holes. Then screw in all of the hex screws and ensure they are nice and secure. After this, all that's left to do is screw your fans onto your radiator and then screw that into your case somewhere. If you want to know how to install an all-in-one, you can check out this video here. Now you are on to the final step, which is to hook up your RGB lighting and get some power to the Floe RC. You remember that 3-fan splitter Nick showed off earlier? Connect the female end to any 3 or 4 pin fan headers on your motherboard. Then connect your fan's power cable to the male end. To get the RGB lighting working, you're going to need to first daisy chain all the RGB headers to each other. If you have the 240mm version, you'll only need to plug one of these together. But if you have the 360mm version, there will be 2 to connect. Now grab the RGB controller. This allows you to select lighting modes, colors, and the speed of the effects of the RGB on your Floe RC and fans. Connect this up to your fans. Lastly, to add some power, go ahead and connect the SATA connector here to the SATA power cable from your power supply. Now you're all good to go. You have officially installed the Floe RC CPU and RAM all in one cooler. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope this how-to guide has been useful for you. To find out more about the Floe RC, check out our first look video on it right here. Remember to leave us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We will see you in the next one.
Hey guys, Tony from Thermaltake here, and today we're going to be going over the installation for a brand new Floe 360 AIO. For this video we're going to be installing it in an Intel 1151 motherboard as well as an AMD AM4 motherboard as well. So let's go ahead and open up the box and see what's inside. Okay, so included inside the packaging we have our Intel 2011 standoffs, our AMD standoffs, Intel 1150 standoffs, thumb screws, fan screws, radiator screws. We also have our AM4 standoffs, our retention clip, backplate with included pads, our general AMD bracket, and our Intel bracket as well. Just to round off the RGB vibe, the Floe also comes included with 3 of our 120mm Ring Plus fans, controller, and included cables as well. And finally we have the cooler itself, consisting of the cooling block as well as the radiator. And for today's demonstration we'll be using our brand new View 21 mid-tower case. So first we're going to go ahead and start off with just getting the fans mounted onto the radiator itself. For this it's pretty straightforward, but it's also a very good time to figure out how you want to orient your fans and take care of cable management. For instance, on this installation we ended up going with a pull configuration, as it would allow us to view the fans a little bit more from the inside of the case, and also gave us a good opportunity to tuck some cables behind some screws just to make cable management easier down the road. Okay, now that our fans are taken care of, time for the mounting hardware. To start out with, we'll be grabbing our 2 rubber pads and attaching that to the back plate itself. Now, in general, it's a little bit nicer to go ahead and put the back plate on the board before installing it in the case. However, since our motherboard is already pre-installed in the case, this is going to be a little bit more similar to what you would see with an upgrade. Now, to save some time and make things easier, we went ahead and installed on the back plate and secured it using the standoffs, just so that we wouldn't have to revisit that later when we were installing on the cooling block itself. So now it's time to go ahead and get that radiator mounted. This is actually one of the reasons why we chose the View 21, as it supports a front-mounted 360mm radiator. Mounting the block for the Floe is pretty straightforward and simple, as all you'll need to do is line up the brackets for the pump with the standoffs themselves, and then just go ahead and secure it with the provided 4 thumb screws. And since we had a chance to show you guys the fan controller before installing it, we thought this would be a good opportunity to show you some of the connections. Right here we have our Molex power. It's pretty straightforward. Next we have our USB controller. Now this is actually going to be attaching to a motherboard header and then straight to the controller itself. Then we have our fan headers. These are pretty funny as they look like USB 2.0s, and they'll just be connecting into the controller just like that. And we have 5 available ports as well. Now mounting a cooler onto AMD's new AM4 socket is actually very reminiscent of Intel's 2011 socket, with the only major difference being that you'll be removing these 2 top mounting brackets and then just going ahead and securing your standoffs, followed by the cooler itself. Alright guys, well if you have any questions on the Floe itself or the installation process, be sure to leave us a comment down below. Also, thanks again for joining us, and be sure to stay tuned for part 2 where we actually go over the software that makes everything possible.
This area shows how many controllers are linked with the power supply. Make a quick selection. The selected fan's red light will come on. We can see this controller has 5 channels. Drag and drop the fan icon on the right side to match it up. Click Done to go on to the next section. Double-click the profile to enlarge the fan you are going to edit. You'll see 54 LED blocks that can be edited around 4 rings. You can choose your favorite color in the color palette zone on the right of the NeonMaker window, or by using the scroll bar to adjust the color codes. And click on the plus sign to create a new color profile, or drag the color to the trash bin to delete it if you don't like it. NeonMaker provides a selection of 12 basic colors to choose from. Single click or to hold on to the left button to fill in the fan profile, or to use Select All to fill in all fan profiles. There are 6 preset effects to access, which are Wave, Pulse, Tempo 1, Tempo 2, Motion, and Head Up. There are 3 Riing Quad Fans on the editing area. Choose Wave for the first, Pulse for the second, and Head Up for the third. Click Play to run effects. There are 6 functions. Select the fan and choose the color you would like to fill into a selected block. Then click Clockwise. The light will rotate clockwise. So now we can try counterclockwise. Choose another color to fill in a block. Click on Counterclockwise. The color will go counterclockwise. Now, let's see Rotate. Select Yellow and click Rotate Plus. The LED will go from the outer ring to the inner ring. If you click on Rotate Minus, the color will go from the inner ring to the outer ring. Click Play to see the variation of LED alongside the rings. When using the gradual function, click the fan you want to edit. And on the timeline, you can add the colors you want by clicking the color palette on the right bar. The color block should appear on the timeline. To set them, click the color bar and then click on Gradual. You can also select all the blocks at once by dragging your mouse. Press play to see your effects. About Add Object function. Click a fan to enlarge the fan. Choose one color to fill in one of the blocks. When the Add Object is on, you can add any functions on the timeline. When the Add Object is off, the timeline of the third fan will be locked, and it can't be added with any new objects. The functions can only be switched within the existed objects. To change size of the blocks on the timeline, you can click the drop-down menu on the bottom left and edit the size of the blocks. The blocks can be dragged freely. Press Ctrl+C to copy the object, and if you want to delete the object, click on Delete. You can also zoom in and zoom out of the timeline by using your mouse wheel to scroll up and down. If you want to reset your controller, click the Return button. To open a previously saved file, click Open to search for a previously saved file. To save your current file, click Save. To learn more about hotkeys, click the Help button. Now, we're going to show you how to edit aqua effects on NeonMaker.
Customizing your PC's lighting effects when using different applications can be difficult. To make things easy, we created the TT Sync controller.
Hey everybody, Thermal Mike, and we're back here talking about the TT Sync controller. Now the TT Sync controller is a perfect add-on for your TT-RGB Plus ecosystem. It allows you to plug up to 9 separate devices into this one controller. So if you're plugging in, say for example, Riing Plus fans, you can populate all 9 ports with Riing Plus fans, and then there's an additional port on here to plug in a PWM cable. Now, of course, to power this, you'll need one serial ATA power connector, and then there's also a data port connection here that syncs it up with the motherboard. We're working with select motherboards from Asus, Gigabyte, and MSI that support a 5-volt RGB LED header out, so that way you can connect this up and get it all synced up with one single software. So first we're gonna go take a look here at Asus's offerings for their motherboards and see what the lighting features have to offer. I have here a ROG Crosshair 7 Hero Wi-Fi Edition motherboard running off the X470 chipset. Now I've gone ahead and I've pre-connected the PWM cable to one of the headers on the motherboard so I can control the fan speeds in the BIOS. Next I'll take the data cable, noting that this is cable C, corresponding to the markings on the connector with the connector itself on the motherboard located here. Now this is the 5-volt LED header out in regards to the 12-volt that's right next to it. For the sync controller, we're going to be using the 5-volt LED header, and you just want to match up the markings on the connector to the motherboard like so. Now I've gone ahead and I've pre-installed the Aura Sync software already to my system. Once launching the Aura software, I have the option to be able to select a variety of different LED modes. Of course, by default, they have their famous rainbow aura sync mode, and then we can select options like flash and dash. Clicking apply will change everything instantly that's connected up to the sync controller, as well as the lighting effects on the motherboard, because everything's set to sync all. They also have some other unique features like glowing yo-yo that gives a nice subtle effect, or going with something more like a strobing effect where everything gives you a variety of brightness, and then be able to change the color options for what you want across the board for everything thanks to the TT controller. I have here our Aorus Gaming 7 Wi-Fi Gigabyte motherboard running the X470 chipset. Now this board's a little different from other configurations. I have already pre-configured and connected my PWM cable to support my fans off of my Floe AIO. And then you'll notice here on the Gigabyte board, they have a different connector which has a label VDG. And this is the 5 volt next to their 12 volt header, which is their 12 volt RGBW connector they have here for 12 volt. Now with the sync controller, I'm going to be using cable number D for the data connection, as this one is the VDG cable connector for the Aorus motherboard. Now I've also been talking with Gigabyte closely, and they may be changing the actual header connector, but it will be changing over to cable C if they do so. So if you get the TT Sync controller now, you should have both cables in the box to make it easy to connect it up, regardless if they change it. Now to connect this up, I'll just take the VDG connector here and plug it in corresponding with the layout on the board. So as I plug this in, flipped over, everything should sync right up once I have the connector for the data cable plugged in. Now I've gone ahead and pre-installed the App Center application from Gigabyte. And one thing to mention when running the App Center is after I've installed the Aorus App Center itself, I also need to install the secondary module, which is the RGB Fusion software. Once the RGB Fusion software is installed, it will come up with this main menu. And then I have a variety of basic options here, like you see with the color that I have on the motherboard. But we're going to go into the advanced options here and dive in a little deeper on some of the new modes. Now with this, you'll see all the different zones and areas to be able to set your lighting separately or together. And one of the things I really like about this is as I've gone over to advanced, it's already preset to profile A, which I pre-configured with this mode. And then I can cycle through my profiles fairly quickly by going from A to B, changing over to like a green color with a different type of animation, or going over to C option to be able to have something very colorful. Now with these, I want to go ahead and select, I can click the digital LED and you'll see a variety of different mode options available that you can select as they label these modes A, B, C, and so on, as well as some of their standard modes up here. And these are the mode options that are available from Gigabyte with their new RGB Fusion software. Now with our MSI Gaming M7 X470 chipset, we've gone ahead and we've hooked up our PWM cable for our fan support to be controlled in the BIOS. And then we have our data cable or sync cable here, noting that this is cable C in reference to the compatibility with MSI. You'll also see the pinout location listed here on the connector, as well as on JRainbow1 header shown here in the lower right corner. And connecting it up is just as easy as plugging in your power connections for your case by just taking this and connecting it directly to the header, just like so. Now I've pre-installed the Mystic Light software from MSI, and I always encourage to make sure you get the correct version for the motherboard you have so you have proper support. Once the software is up and installed, I'm going to go under my sync profile, I'm going to select individual, and then for my device setting with the motherboard selected, I will click the settings option here. Once clicking the settings option, it's going to take me to a separate window where you'll see I have options for profiles as well as the LED area. As shown, we've connected to the JRainbow1, which is the 5 volt RGB LED header. And then with that, we have our lighting effect down here showing the default color ring option. Going through a couple of different features like double meteor, gives a nice cool little effect, definitely something different that you won't see on a TT product straight out of the box. But with the sync controller, it adds a nice add-on for being able to do even more with one application. Link and sync like never before with the Thermaltake TT Sync controller. And if you want to learn more, visit our website at thermaltakeusa.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you didn't, and definitely join in on the conversation by dropping a comment down below. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And again, my name is Thermal Mike, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Hi there, I'm Sarah from Thermaltake Australia, and these are the brand new Thermaltake Riing Quad RGB fans. These gorgeous fans come in two sizes, 120 and 140 millimeters. With the goal of pushing the boundaries of RGB integration in fans, we've upped the LED count to an insane 54 individually addressable LEDs spread across 4 separate controllable LED rings. We've had requests ever since we first released the Riing fans to have them in white. So we're happy to say that the Riing Quad fan will be available in both black and a brand new snow edition, so they'll fit any and every build. Of course, you're not just stuck with these simple presets with these fans. Using our innovative NeonMaker software, you can customize your fans to your heart's content. You can not only change the colors of your fans, but also set up variations and create all sorts of incredible, fully customized effects. These effects can then be saved as presets, allowing you to mix up your lighting whenever you like, or even share with friends. NeonMaker allows you to take control and make your fans as unique as your build itself is. Now, don't let the size of the Riing Quads unsettle you. The high static pressure design of our Riing series fans are engineered to generate high airflow without sacrificing whisper-quiet operation. The anti-vibration rubber pads provide hassle-free usage and ensure all your corners are nice and covered. If you're looking for the coolest fan to add some RGB flair to your build, you can't go past the Riing Quad RGB fans. Not only do they look stunning and can be fully customized to suit you, but they provide excellent airflow without sacrificing silent running. We know you'll become just as big of a fan of the new Riing Quad fans as we are. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, remember to leave us a like and let us know any comments or questions you may have in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and ding the bell to be notified each and every time that we upload. And while you're here, check out one of these cool Thermaltake videos above me. We'll see you in the next one.